Q's and me comments. Q's and at me. Oh, they've added something into it. Oh, that's neat. Guess I should close the door so that nobody else. So you did your first webinar, or you did a webinar, and no one bought. Now what? You give up? Is it back to the drawing board? I don't know. So I'm going to do the blab with no one here because it's a recording. And there's others coming. So you know what? Webinars are all about solving a problem that your ideal client is facing, right? So if your webinar is designed only to sell, then you're going to come across some major, much ado about nothing frustrations. It's not about over the, you know. So I've had people come up to me because I've done webinars and various different on various different subjects and topics, depending on who I was doing and what the problem being solved was. And I've had people come up to me and they've asked me for some tips to ensure that they're going to have a successful webinar. So, you know, the first thing that you need to do about a successful webinar is one, you need to understand your audience. That's the first thing. And you need to understand the problem. If you're trying to sell and it's based off of what you're doing, if the goal of your webinar, so you need to, so that's the first thing. So let's do that. So I'm gonna write these out. Let me get rid of my ugly drawing. So the first thing that you've got is your goal. So what's your goal? And you need to understand a few things. So it's not just about rushing in. But so you need to understand your goal. You need to understand your goal. Okay. You need to have that goal. Now, if that goal is if the end product goal, and this isn't bad, so there's a difference. So let me make sure. I know I'm spontaneous blab, and I'm doing what I'm doing. So, hey David, welcome. Thanks a lot for being here. So, the webinars, again, webinars are designed for selling. So if you're only trying to sell, webinars are designed to solve a problem. So if you're only trying to sell, that's what I'm trying to say. If that's your big thing, then again, you're going to have those major frustrations. And if you've not mapped out your goals, so anybody can sit there and say, oh, wow, what I want to do is I want to have a webinar because I want to, I've got this new iPhone and I want to sell the iPhone. And so, you know, a lot of people take the misjudgment of, okay, I'll just do webinars and I'll sell lots of iPhones. But what is the iPhone going to solve? What problem does that solve? And that's what you're doing. You're speaking to that emotion. So when you come in, before you start the webinar, what you need to do is you need to map out your goals, and you need to have a big goal. And so if your big goal is, okay, you know, I want to sell X iPhone, then that's fine. But then from that big goal, you need to figure out, you need to know your numbers. You know, how many do you want to try and sell? And I always talk about having 3 different sets. So you have your low number, you know, that's your safe, warm, cozy, you could, you know, barely do anything type number. You have your target number. That's the number you really would like to hit. And then you have your hairy, scary number. And that's this big, huge, like, oh my gosh, you know, I can't even imagine being able to do, you know, that much in sales. Okay. So you need to understand those factors. And once you understand that number, then you got to start figuring out, okay, well, in order to get to this number, you start working backwards. Okay, in order to do this, I need to have, you know, you got to start working backwards. So if you're not doing this before your webinars, then you know, so let's say, you know, that your big hairy, let's go for the big hairy goal. Well, let's go for the safe number goal. So let's say that your number is 20,000, and I'm in the U.S., so I'm gonna say dollars, 20,000 US dollars. So that's what I would like to hit. That's my middle number. It's not too effortless, but it's not big, hairy, scary. And you say, okay, and I've got a product that I'm selling, and the product I'm selling costs $497. All right, so now you know 2 numbers, 497 and 20,000. Okay, so you know, looking at 20,000, even that with that being a middle of the road number, it's like, well, what do I do? You know, okay, so I've got 20,000, but I'm not there. How do I get there? Well, that's what you start doing. That's why you need to know what you need to know how much you're selling your product for. Because now what you can do is you can sit there and say, okay, 497, and I'll have to use a calculator because my brain's not going to work. It'd be 40, roughly, right? 40 times 500. Is that right? Or is that too much? Maybe that's too much. That's not too much. 40 times 497. Yep, it'd be 40. So you need 40 people. You need 40 people to buy your $497 product in order for you to reach your $20,000 goal. All right, now we're starting to make some progress. Okay, 40 people. 40 people, that's not a lot of people to buy. All right. But you got to get that 40 people. Now, you know, and it's like, okay, so now I'm going to have a webinar, and I'm going to have 40 people on there. And all 40 people will buy my product at $497, and that'll be it. I'll reach my $20,000 goal. No, it's not going to work that way. It's just like, and I can't remember who said it. They go, you know what, your audience, 1% of your audience out of 100%, 1% is listening most of the time, but they hear 100% of what's relevant to them, right? Okay, you get that? So if you've only got 40 people on your webinar and you're taking that percentage chance, then you might sell 40 people, you might sell one, $497. Now you're nowhere near to it. You might as well have not even sold. Now it's not worth the cost or the time or the energy or anything of that nature. You know, and we haven't even gotten to the point of what, you know, people aren't even signing up for the webinar. We got to get to that point at first. But you need to know these numbers. So, okay, you need 40 people. So pick up a good random number of people, a percentage of people that purchase it. Let's be safe. Let's say 20%. Okay. 20% of people. So 20% out of 100, so 20 people out of 100 will probably buy. All right, so that's a decent number that you can work with. I mean, you may have more, you may have less. We can't know the exacts until it actually comes across. I don't know your content. I don't know the relevancy. I don't know the problem that you're solving. We'll get to all that type of stuff. But 20% of people, okay? So that's one thing. Now, in order for 20% of the people, to buy your product that you're promoting at the end of your webinar, well, you got to have people on your webinar. So, no registrations. Now we're talking about that. So we got to get people signed up. So, how many people? So let's say 100. All right. And then you got to work out, okay, well, 100 sign up, but not everybody always shows up, right? So 100 people. So, what's the percentage of attendance that's good? So let's see. So 30%, let's say 30% attend live your webinar. Now, it's not to say you don't have replays and you can't offer anything. But so out of 100 people, 30% attend, that's 30 people. Now, 20% of those 30 people, 20%, 30 times 20%, 6 people. Okay? That's your 6. And 6 times 497 means you made $2,900, $3,000, right? Okay, so now you see where we're going. So with those numbers, then you need to figure out, okay, so I need to get how many people signed up on the webinar to get my numbers right, to get my numbers better. Well, you've already got numbers. So, 100 people sign up, 30% of those people show up, that's 30, 20% of those buy, that's 6. I need 5 times that amount. I'm sorry. I need 4 times that amount of people to buy. All right. So times 4. 30 times 4 equals 120. 100 times 4 equals 400. Now, all right. Now we're getting somewhere. Now you got 400 people. Now you got 400 people that you want registered for your webinar so that 120 of those 400 show up so that out of those 120, hopefully you get 20% of your sales, which is 24 people. And 24 people times the 497 is only half your goal, right? So basically you need double that. So just double the numbers. 24, 24 times 497 is half the goal. Yeah, 11 grand. Okay, but you're getting there. Now you can figure out the numbers, right? So, double that. I need 800 people to register for the webinar. I need 240, at least 240 of those people to actually attend the webinar. And then from there, I need 40 people to buy. All right, out of the 240, I need 40 people to buy my $497 product. And when 40 people buy my $497 product, guess what? Oh, hi, Bryn. Come on in. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to not acknowledge you.
No worries.
How you doing? So
good.
basically what I'm doing is I'm just doing a blab and seeing if people show up. And a couple of people were talking to me recently about, I did a webinar and I didn't have any, I didn't sell anything. No one bought. Mm-hmm. And so when I was talking to them, we started going through this exercise of, well, how many people do you have registered? Were you trying to, were you trying to add value? Were you trying to solve a problem, or were you trying to sell? And so I was just.
I love that. And I actually popped in because of the topic.
Okay, good.
I actually have a webinar that I'm doing. I have 31 people registered.
Okay.
Thursday, I think it is. I'm not even sure.
Good for you.
I've done a lot of these before, but I am selling my e-learning program.
Okay.
And the last time I sold 2 out of 80. So I thought maybe there'd be some ideas on.
So you had 2 people. You had 80 people attend and 2 people purchased, or you had 80 people registered?
80 people registered, 24, 25 attended, and 2 people bought.
Well, so what if you want? What we can do is we can actually start through the first part of the exercise, and I can use you and your numbers, because that's what I do. That's what I was doing to help these other individuals out. So, as I was saying at the beginning, a lot of times, for some reason, people are like, well, I've got this whatever, and I'd like to sell it. And I hear you can sell on webinars. Ooh, I'll have a webinar.
Right.
And so and the whole goal of it, or the whole purpose of their webinar is sell, sell, sell. They're not solving any problems. They're not doing anything. It's like an iPhone. I've got an iPhone. I want to sell an iPhone. I'm going to have a webinar to sell the iPhone. Mm-hmm. But you need to figure out what problem that the iPhone solves. But before you do that, you've got to get your numbers in front of you. And so that's basically what I was doing, was going over the numbers. And so the first thing that I always teach people to do is I have you figure out 3 different numbers. So I have you figure out a nice, low, safe, this is what I'd like to make number. Okay. And then on your next number is, this is what I would really like to make. This is what this would make me happy. This will do whatever. I'll be able to do the second part of this course or this book or whatever it is. And then the third number is a hairy, scary number. It's that, oh my God, I would love to make $100,000, but there's just no way that I could do it type deal. There's no way I would be able to do it, but come up with those 3 numbers. So do you have those 3 numbers?
I can walk through them. So I haven't really thought it through that specifically. Okay. But I would love to sell 4 a week and do this once a week. Okay. That's like my wish list.
Okay. So how much is, so let me ask, how much is your product?
So the e-learning program is $297. However, on these programs, they're $97. So if they go, I've sold quite a few at $297 just being in my newsletter. Uh-huh. I think I've sold about 15 of them. I launched a month and a half ago, 15 or 20 at $297. Okay. And then now and then it's like I thought I have a pretty good tribe, and I thought when this launched, I'd sell 150, 200, and I didn't. I have like 14,000 people in my tribe. So that follow me, like my stuff, comment. So I expected.
All those things are great until you don't make any money off of them.
Right. So I thought, here I go. Now I'm going to monetize this. So I think, and I share revenues 50-50 with the partner that did the e-learning with me, which is great. Okay. So if I can sell, it's a 30-minute webinar. If I can sell 2, I'm making $200. If I can sell 4 of them in 30 minutes, I'm making $200 in a half hour. That's plus.
Okay, so let me go ahead and stop you. So, is this what you do, or is this something on the side?
So this is an enhancement of exactly what I do. Okay. So So should I go into that, or?
No. You don't have to do that. So what I'm trying to figure out is, I'm trying to figure out if this is your main bread and butter, or if you're what I call sidepreneur, which is you have an employer, you have a job.
Oh, no. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a business owner. Right. Yeah.
So you got bills to pay. You got food to put on the table. You got a life that you would like to live.
But I do well in my business. Okay. This was going to be the piece that was going to make me money without working.
There you go. Okay. All right. So the piece to make you money without working.
Right. I'm putting more hours into that piece than anything else.
Okay. All right. And that's fine. So that's an evergreen product, and there's plenty of them out there, and there's plenty of successful, and then there's plenty of people who aren't successful with it. Mm-hmm. So here's how you get your 3 different numbers. You've got a certain dollar amount every month that you have to just meet the bills.
Not with this product, but in general, yes, that's true. Okay. All
right. Well, but again, this is the product that you would like to have so that if it could take over and you not work. And that's what I'm saying. It's okay to dream this way.
Okay. I struggle with the dream. Right.
So I'm not going to ask for specific numbers.
I don't mind sharing. I'm an open book.
Well, let's do this. So $5,000. Let's say that's the low number.
For this product?
No.
Oh, in general.
Let's just say that would.
Yeah. The low number is like $9.
$9?
9,000.
9,000. Okay. All right. That's even better. That's fine. 9,000. All right. So what's your middle number?
15.
Okay. What's your hairy scary?
200 would be hairy scary.
200,000. That's fine.
I mean,
There's
sure.
nothing wrong with that. So I've got three different numbers: 9,000, 15, and 200,000. Okay.
But that's not with this product. That's everything all together.
Okay. That's fine. All right.
Okay.
But what we're doing is we're focusing on, okay, and so you can rework the numbers later on. This is just a formula of how to do this.
Okay, great.
So you can rework the numbers to whatever it is that you want to work it for, because you need to figure out how to get to the number goal. And you need to start at the big end, not at the small end. So you're sitting there working at the small end. You're going, well, you know, they're $97. If I get two people, that's an hour's worth of work for $200. Well, okay, that's good. And you can work from that end as well. So, you know.
No, that's how I think I want to learn from you.
Okay. So let's take $15,000.
That's a good number.
All right. So $15,000. That's what I'd like to make from this webinar course or this series leading up to this webinar or this e-learning, and I'm using webinars to sell from it, and I've got a time span spent. Okay, so now that you've got that number, and we know that the course you're selling it for a cost of $97, I think that's low.
Well, it's $297 is what it is.
Right. So that's the number I'm gonna stick with.
Okay, so let's say I want some kind of incentive for them to buy it after my webinar. So should I make it like $50 off?
Nope. Actually, let's touch on that afterwards, because you're doing that backwards too. You actually want the incentive for them to purchase while they're on the webinar. That's creating urgency or scarcity, whichever way you want to do it.
Right. I usually have the discount codes available for 24 hours.
Okay. I wouldn't do it that way.
Okay, good.
You can have a discount code available after the webinar, but I would have while they're on there, while they're hot, while they're ramped up and ready to go, you want to create a sense of urgency. Hey, listen, I'm going to offer you, normally it's $297, but if you purchase in the next 15 minutes before this webinar is over, you can buy it for $147. I think the difference between $297 and $97, a $200 discount, I think that's a big drop. So either you drop the initial price of it down to $197, or you don't give it as steep a discount.
Okay. No, I can't drop it at this point from $297. So
okay. So
it's in print in too many places.
So let's do $297. So we're going to do two different numbers, 15K. We're going to do $297. All right. So now what you got to do is you got to figure out how many people do you need on your webinar, but not that you need on your webinar, that will more than likely purchase your product. And there's a formula that you can work that out. And you can fudge around with the percentage numbers all you want to, but it's roughly how it works out. So
okay, I'm going to take notes.
If you get 100 people registered, 30% of people that register for webinars typically show. 20% of those people will typically buy.
20%?
And sometimes that's high. Sometimes it can be 15. But I would shoot for 20 based on the value and the problem that you're solving during the webinar and everything of that nature. I think that works out. But if you look at it, so if 100 people register.
So that's 15 purchases.
100 people register. Nope.
Oh, no. 20.
30 people show up. 20% of those 30 buy. That's 6.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Now we've got those numbers. Now we just have to figure out, okay, so my numbers actually, and so 6 times 297, and I'm not even going to try, $1,800. I could have done $300 in my head, I guess. So $1,800. All right. But we want $15,000. So now you just need to bump your numbers.
15,000 is the wrong number to work with because I make more than that usually a month doing my training.
Okay.
So let's say I want to make 3,000 a month at this. Let's use the number 3,000.
Okay. All right. So 3K. Mm-hmm. Well, actually, you're almost there then with that. You get 100 people registered, you get 30 people to attend, 6 of those people's buy. That's $1,782. So that's using.
So I need 2 of those.
Huh?
So I need 2 of those.
You would need 2 of those types of webinars
a month.
Yep.
So my numbers are not there, and people love my webinar. Love it.
Yep.
It's
so
amazing. So So I'm doing something wrong.
So you're getting people registered in those numbers, and so that was the first part that I was trying to go over. So you're getting the registrations done. People are registering, and you're getting at least 30% attendance out of those that are registering.
Right. So today in my newsletter, I sent out a link to do this.
And hi, everybody who joined in. My name's David, and this is
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just introduced. I didn't want to not acknowledge everybody that's in here. So, and if anybody else would like to jump in, you're more than welcome to jump in.
This is very valuable. Somebody should jump in. This is great stuff. Okay, I'm going to go log in because I could have maybe 32, 33 people at this point too. I'd be happy to put my link in if anyone's interested. It is a very valuable.
You're welcome to stick it in there. I don't. It doesn't bother me. But so if you're getting those types of numbers,
mm-hmm.
so if you're getting the people registered, and
32, yep.
So you're getting 100. Out of 100 people, 30 people are attending your webinar. Then if you're having a problem with the actual purchases, then we need to figure out what's going on between there. So it sounds like the registrations are. So how are you promoting this? How are people signing up for your webinars?
About 95% of it is through my newsletter.
Okay. So you're not doing any kind of Facebook ads or anything of that nature? Okay.
I'm doing very little to promote it.
Okay. All right. That's fine. And if you're getting the numbers that you want, but I wouldn't ignore something like Facebook and using Facebook ads, especially if your market's on Facebook. And
my market's on LinkedIn.
Hi, Nancy.
What I do is I train how to use LinkedIn.
Okay.
So they're definitely there.
And,
interesting.
Yeah, LinkedIn doesn't. Yeah, LinkedIn's a whole different beast.
LinkedIn is amazing.
LinkedIn is amazing. I happen to. It's great for the B2B aspect. It's not as great.
And that's what that's exactly. I am B2B.
It definitely solves that whole issue, because I work with a couple of companies. They're like, well, we'll do Facebook ads, and I'm like, that's not going to help you at all. You're so far up B2B, it's not even funny. And so anyway, so no one, and you're getting that attendance, so people are showing up. So I was going to say, make sure that you've got a decent amount of notifications going out. Make sure that.
That's a good point.
Make sure
for
that
the people that are registered.
So when people register, so what kind of software are you using to
Eventbrite.
Go to webinar?
Oh, join.me.
Okay. I don't know if I'd really use join.me as a webinar platform, but if you're having success with it.
Well, I'm not. I mean, I've only done.
I would look at either. I would do either go to webinar, and I would probably promote that to you before I'd say, a platform that's using Google Hangouts, because Join Me is actually owned by the same company that does GoToWebinar. It's all Citrix related. So
I don't think Join Me is Citrix.
It used to be. It may not be anymore, but you can get GoToWebinar free for the first 30 days.
I actually signed up for it to try it.
Yeah, you got to do it within that 30 days. Otherwise, your trial goes away. Yeah. But you may be able to do it. Typo and question.
And why don't you like Join Me, out of curiosity?
I just don't find it a good webinar platform. It's not a good. I don't really like GoToWebinar just because it's expensive.
It's crazy, and Join.me is like.
I know. I actually use. I use Webinar Jam as the platform that I use, but that's on top of Google Hangouts on Air.
Right. So that's public, right?
You could do it Hangouts on Air with. Well, it is, but that's okay. If what you're doing is trying to sell a product anyway, then I wouldn't be worried about it. Now, for your webinars where the people are registered and have paid you, no, I wouldn't recommend doing something like that to do that.
Right. Yeah. No, I like them a little close. At least I want to know who's on.
Yep.
I want to be able to capture that.
Yep.
But
so when people do register for it, what happens after the registration process?
It's a great question. So let me see how many emails I have.
Well, no, what I mean, well, actually, I guess I can sign up and I can see by going through it.
Actually, in this one now, I don't have any other. I just have a 48-hour follow-up. So I heard that one. That was a good one.
So I would do. So here's how the follow-up emails is what I would do. For a follow-up email, I would do 48, 72 hours. That's fine. I wouldn't promote a webinar more than 10 days out. That's really extreme. And I wouldn't promote a webinar less than like 4 days.
So I'm Sunday to Thursday.
And your best days to do webinars are going to be Wednesdays and Thursdays. Unless you find, some people find other days actually work better for them, and that's fine. But the average and what everybody says is, Wednesdays and Thursdays are always the prime, because you don't like Mondays are a catch-up day, especially in a B2B world where you're at. So Mondays, everybody's trying to catch up from the weekend or the last week. Friday, everybody's trying to plan for whatever they're doing next week. Tuesday, that's kind of, you could do them on Tuesdays.
Well, I always do Thursdays from 3 to 4 or 4 to 5.
Okay.
Because I'm hitting West Coast around 1 o'clock at that point.
Okay. And so is that when your ideal customer is typically around and watching? Do you know who your ideal customer is?
I do.
Okay.
Yes.
So then 72 hours before the webinar, 48 to 72 hours, send them a reminder email. Make sure that you're personalizing the from field. So if they're used to your name or your brand name or something, I would make it like your name, and then play with the subjects a little bit and see, what works. Like, let me give you a good for instance. So one of the titles I do is I'll do brackets. I'm so excited, your upcoming webinar. As a particular title. So, I mean, you can play around with it and see what your open rate is. I don't know who you're using for that. And then I would do one.
I use Constant Contact. Constant Contact.
Oh, okay. And then I would do I would do one the morning of. So like 12 hours before. So I would have it go out, probably in the early morning hours. That way it's waiting, sitting in their mailbox, that they can see it. And then I would do one an hour before the event. And if you want to get really aggressive about it, you can do one 15 minutes before the event starts. When you do webinars, I always like to try and start my webinars like 15 minutes early. It's not that I start the webinar, but I get everything launched up. I have a nice little splash screen, something or other. I've done a keynote slide and it's, hey, starting. I got some music playing in the background. And as I see people starting to trickle in more and more, I'll turn the music volume down and I'll say, hey, everybody, welcome. Thanks for joining in, reserving your spot and all this type of stuff. We're going to get going soon. Let me hear where you're, start engaging with them that way. But the reason that I like doing that is because it helps kind of, one, your audience will get used to it. And two, it helps to where any kind of last minute hiccups that happen go away. So you can work that type of stuff out. But always have your webinars planned out, before you do it. Not enough sales. If you're not getting enough on the sales. So again, I wouldn't, especially if you're promoting as typically $297 and you're offering it for $97, to me, that throws up warning.
Interesting.
Unless, and actually what I recommend doing is when you're listing out everything that everybody's going to get and you can hit like 3, 4, 5 bullet points. I like putting a value of what that is, because it's, it could certainly be more. It's certainly more valuable than what you're actually offering it for. Even if you're offering a $2,000 product, it may be, value is all perception.
Right. So if they were to actually take the class that's recorded, it's a $500 class with me.
There you go. And I would mention that, and I would let them know, and that would actually be a slide. I would have that as a slide. If you were to take this as however you're offering it, this is what it would cost you. But today, and just make type out X, make the font size really big, make it an X, turn it red, and flip it on it, and that's your next slide. But for today, it's not going to be that. It could be $397. Today, it's not going to do that. It's typically $297. But if you buy before, this webinar ends, then, you get, and use this link, you get a $50 discount. So instead of it being $297, it's $247. Or you can do $197.
I'll do $197.
$100 off is a lot easier to chew on than $200 off. $200 to me, that's you're gonna get blood in the water. And it's about price, because people really shouldn't be buying based off of the price anyway. What they should be buying off of is because of all the value that we gave them for free. They're sitting there going, well, doggone, I've learned so much from her, and she didn't charge me. I can't imagine what it's going to be like when she.
Yeah, and I teach that, so that's This is very valuable.
And
how can I help
raises a really good point. Nancy, you're more than welcome to chime in as well. Nancy, he says, think of how much it would cost them for you to do it personally.
Millions. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. Hey, Reggie.
So how can I help you? I feel like you gave me so much.
Oh, well, I'm not even done. I'm mostly done. Tech overwhelm. Again, that's that 15-minute window. That's why I promote, saying, hey, start this out. Get there 15 minutes early. And you can even put that in your emails. Hey, listen, and your thank you. Are you doing a thank you video when people register? Because I recommend people do that, because it adds some.
Oh, no.
And I'm not trying to add to you the biggest thing is you don't want the barriers to be in front of you to prevent.
I love that.
Yeah. But it adds the personality to it. But again, with if you start the 15 minutes out, if you put that in there, hey, listen, I'm going to be in here, 15 minutes early. Come join me early, chat me up or something like that. People love that type of stuff. They think they're going to get extra nuggets out of you. Look at Reggie. He's sitting there writing all this stuff down. He's like, I got it now.
This is golden. This is golden.
It doesn't sound like you're suffering from a lack of confidence. So it sounds like you're comfortable with who you are, why you do what you do. It sounds like you're comfortable with the message that you present. So I don't think that's really a big issue. I think one is just your numbers and how to work with. And I would seriously work out for yourself the bigger numbers. I would sit there and go, okay, I want to make in 1 month, I want to make $15,000 off of this. How do I, what do I need to do? And you've got the percentages now. How many people do I have to have registered? And if I've got 800 people registered, I know that 240 are going to show up. And if 240 show up, I know out of that 240 that 48 are going to buy, based off of 30% showing up and 20%, 30% actually buying what you got. And when you do all that, you'll see how easy it is. And then you just got to work backwards from, okay, so what do I got to do? I can advertise on LinkedIn. I would still look into Facebook advertising, because even though your target customer and what you teach is LinkedIn, we still all have Facebook accounts. We're still on Facebook.
Yeah, my people are not as much on Facebook as you might think. I'm actually selling to high-level sales producers.
Personally, they're not on there?
Not as much as I think. A lot of them, where they're barely on. They're on because their kids are on and they're in college, and it's just kind of how they'll pop in. But I would say that my target market is 95% on LinkedIn, and maybe 10 or 20% on Facebook.
Okay.
And 5% are on LinkedIn but don't ever log in.
Okay. Nancy's got a good point too. And Nancy,
Nancy should hop in.
Yeah, Nancy, come on in. Nancy.
It does sound gimmicky. That's why I don't normally do that, Nancy. I agree with you. It definitely sounds gimmicky.
If you do it too much, and it can, it really depends on what's going on. For some people, it's not. So, you had a question earlier about why do people love your webinar?
Right, that was my question.
Yes.
Okay, I love that question. I would love to answer that question.
Sure, go ahead.
Yay. So I teach salespeople how to truly leverage their network, how to get more client referrals, how to get better introductions from their key networking partners, and ultimately how to position themselves as the subject matter expert so that when they get the introductions and people show up, they want to have a phone call.
Okay, I'm sold. So now.
I'm happy to go on.
No, I really want to hear more the reason you say people love your webinar, if you coalesce all the feedback you've gotten, like what are the main reasons why people say that, why they say that?
Because they get 3 to 5 implementable takeaways that they can apply if they never talk to me again.
Okay.
And get results.
Okay. Okay. Can I ask a different question now?
Sure, absolutely. Go ahead.
So I got to give you a little background. So I have so I work with people to, I have this big mission to get the world on purpose. So I've got a coaching program that takes people through a series of assessments that we use as their kind of starting point, and then we build a vision and a plan, and then we begin executing it. It's largely built into a coaching program. I need to scale, so I've got to have a successful webinar strategy first, and then later I'll have a kind of online mobile portal, something or another. The thing that I'm wrestling with now is, have you seen webinar series be successful?
Yes.
What I mean by that is, so let's say you had one webinar that focused on passions, another one that focused on strengths, another one that focused on motivations. Mm-hmm. And if that's the case, have you seen anything that should go into the design in terms of how you compartmentalize what goes in each?
Sure, go ahead. Yeah.
So that's part of what I do for a living. So I have paid webinar series.
Okay.
Phenomenal success out of that.
Okay. All right. Tell me more.
Can I add, is that okay to that's not my show. I don't want to make sure I'm doing okay.
No, this is that's fine. You're more than welcome. That's why
I tend to be, I'm in sales, so I talk a lot and I don't want to overstep.
You can never out-talk me, trust me.
Okay, cool. Excellent. So I sell primarily private webinars to big sales teams. So I could get into a company that has 70, 80 sales reps around the country. And if they were to hire me to come in to do a public class or a private class for them, it's very expensive. They have to fly me. They've got to fly all their sales reps together. So I offer a webinar series. Usually they're 4 45-minute to 1 hour classes, each of them building on itself. And I sell that for $2,500.
$25 for the total package for the company?
To the company, so it's 4 hours of my time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's 5 hours because we do a 1 hour before the program. We'll do a 1 hour. We go through what we're going to go through, so it's more customized to what they want to hear. So it's, for me, it's 5 hours of my time for $2,500.
Okay.
I sell about 2 to 3 of those a month.
Okay. And that's
it's a significant portion of my income.
Okay. And but those are sold to a company, and they bring their teams for each of the webinars.
Right.
And it's 25. And is this the series that you talked about?
Yes.
And each one of them is $2,500, or the total package is $2,500?
No, for the 4.
Oh, for the 4.
Yeah, so it's 5 hours of my time is $2,500.
Got it. Okay.
It's phenomenal. Now, I have done a really good job over the last my business is 2 years old. I've done a really good job of positioning myself as one of the leading experts in this field through content and through other areas. I have a published book that did very well. I have a forward from the top social seller in the world. I did a lot of things right on purpose, by the way.
Right.
I did for years and years. I did a lot of things wrong and then figured out, So I love what you're doing. Love what you're doing. And I think there's a big need for that. If you're looking to do public, now I'm going to tell you, I hired a marketing person when I launched my own company. I hired a marketing coach, and one of the things that he really put in my head was the public things. If you want them to be very successful, consider just doing freeconferencecall.com, because people, if they pay, let's say I sign up and it's 10 weeks and I pay you $1,000 for my 10 weeks and there are 80 people that signed up for this. I may be in my car. I might be on the road. And so if you do anything more than 3 or 4 weeks in a row, he said, don't make it video, make it conference call, because people are going to stop showing up because of logistics. So and that's what he does. He does 100% of his coaching. He does these big group coaching. He has a 10-week for $777. That's his price. It's 10 weeks. You can go through it, and then he upsells to he has other things.
Okay.
So his name is David Newman. I'll throw it out just because I'm giving away his secrets. He might as well get credit. He's amazing.
Okay.
But one of the things I really learned was, so he gave a ton of content. He gives a ton of content in box.com. So everyone that's part of that class shares a folder. You could do it in Google Drive as well.
Okay.
So and then there's a ton of content and homework and things that they need inside that. Every day before, every week before the conference call, he'd put more content up there. That would be our homework.
Okay.
And that was very valuable. And he would record them. And I don't think he actually pays for free conference call, whatever it is. And he'd record them, so if you missed it, the recorded session was available.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Have either you or he suggest, so mine, I'm a little worried that it's going to be it needs to be an 8-part series. Okay, so wrap your head around that. I've considered doing a free webinar as the first one that's really more promotional, inspirational, like this is why you need to do this. Here's how it works. And then use and your conversions from earlier, David, worried me a little, because if I start out with that, kind of promo 30-minute free version, if I got to then convert down to actual people buy, I might as well work hard to try to get the first one then be a paid one. I guess is the decision I'm trying to make. So do you think this first of the series being a free one should be a good idea? And I should probably ask this, and this is actually something I've been meaning to talk to you about, Brent. I said you and I have been LinkedIn exchanging. I think. Oh,
I'm sorry, I didn't recognize that. My apologies.
No. We've already exchanged messages, and it's coming. But the one thing that I'm.
Oh, yay! I do know. I just looked you up.
Yeah, but the one thing that I believe, I believe that I am able to promote this webinar within my own network. In other words, I'm not looking to push this out. I mean, I will.
You have a try.
Advertise it beyond the network. It will be posted, but I'm going to target people that are in my network. I have a pretty vast network.
So let me chime in real quick on one thing. So the numbers that I gave, the percentage values, they're not set in stone. People have done worse. People have done much better.
Right.
Not every single time, but those are good average numbers. And again, that 20%, that's actually a little high. I'd probably go towards 15% that actually buy out of the 30% that attend.
Okay.
The purpose of those, and I don't know if you were here at the beginning when I was talking with Brad, and this is being recorded, is that you need to know your numbers.
Right. I was there.
You don't know your numbers.
That's my homework. I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, if you don't know, and like I did with Bren, you have a safe, comfortable, this will get me by number.
Right.
Have a this is a comfortable, I'd like to have this type of number right here. This is, I'm living, decently. Right. And then you have your hairy, scary number. Mm-hmm. And don't be scared of the hairy, scary number. Work out the details for that too, because it's all possible to do. All it does, though, is it tells you, okay, this is exactly what I need based on these numbers to show up and attend. And if I deliver the value that these are the people, if I solve the problem that these people are looking to have solved, and pitch my product at the end.
Okay.
Nancy asked a good question. An 8-part course for one price?
No. You pay for each module. And so it's kind of like, I want to have a product that you can go at your own pace. Uh-huh. So they can take one and then, they can take the next one the next time it's offered, or they can take it some other future time it's offered. But I would keep track of, kind of where you are and what's the next module you're taking. Okay. Yeah.
They have really very good WordPress applications.
Okay.
Widgets and things. So WordPress. So right now I'll be launching in January with a couple of other social sellers, a group coaching website that's subscription agreement.
Okay.
So, and we used InstaMember. I think it was like $197 one-time fee, something ridiculously reasonable.
Okay.
I had a WordPress person put it together. It was a $2,000 for the InstaMember. It's really ugly right now, so now we have to make it pretty.
Yeah.
But it also comes with affiliate links, so if other people want to share it, they get paid through PayPal. Like, it's really cool.
Is it kind of like Lead Pages?
It's not. It's a subscription agreement that connects to PayPal. So if someone signs up for whatever, let's say it's let's say you're doing this once a week, and they're automatically going to get charged $99 every week or $59 every week for your program, unless they cancel it. But if they cancel it, they no longer can log into the website. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to have hidden pages with links. So tonight, when you're ready to watch whatever it is you're going to watch, you have to log in to click through that.
Got it.
So if they don't pay, they can't log in.
So I've got one final question that, and then I'll jump out and let somebody else jump in.
Well, there's an empty seat still for someone.
There's an empty seat, so somebody else can join in if they want to.
Then I'll hog the conversation. So pricing strategy. So one, I heard you talking about the, $297 and $97 and then $197, and I completely understand the ebbs and flow of that. From my perspective, I think, at least for my audience, and then for a lot of people in general, this be the case. Price is not the driver of the decision that I think a lot of times we nervously think it is. Do you know what I mean?
No. Purchasing is done by the limbic region of the brain. It's emotion. It's based off of emotion completely.
Right. So
otherwise, why did so many people buy an iPhone 6S yesterday and they're not going to have it for 2 weeks? It's based off of the value that Apple's already created.
Right.
Based off of the scarcity that they always sit there, because they always run out of stock. It's based off of the sense of urgency in order to get it and be an early adopter and all that type of stuff. Price, it doesn't. There is a car company in California, and I can't remember what the name of the car company is. But anyway, you help make the car. Every aspect and detail you have.
Nike does that with sneakers.
You have an input. Yes, but the sneakers don't cost $50,000 that you have to pay.
Is it Tesla?
No, not Tesla.
Oh, okay.
Not Tesla.
Okay.
It's
talking about Nike
some
ID.
car, but it's $50,000 that you have to pay in order to have the privilege of helping build the car that doesn't even exist yet. The car is just concept.
It's for all those Lego kids that grew up and made money.
But they have a huge following. They have people pay that all the time because they're a part of something. So that's the other part of value, is making sure that somebody feels a part of it. Solve the problem, stick with it, be consistent, that type. Yeah. So, I mean, price doesn't, you can have a $3,000 product just as much as you can have a $300 product, and people won't buy either one if they don't value what it is that you're already providing them.
So in as much, then I personally prefer to stay away from this whole, it's a X value, and therefore, but it's only this. Sorry, did I lose you? Got a phone call coming in.
Yep.
And in my mind, that did.
It depends.
I think we're losing him.
No, that's actually a bug with Blab, is that when the call comes in, the stream has a horrible time trying to sync up. The only thing you can really do is drop off and come back in.
No.
Are you on your phone?
I'm back. Yeah, I'm on my phone. That was a mistake. I now see that was a mistake. So
yeah.
But I guess my question would be, so I'm just gonna set the price and say that's what the price is.
Okay, give it a try.
And then I guess the other question is, like, what range of webinars, like, you've seen really good webinars that go as high as, and I mean in a webinar, let's say that maybe you have, deliverables out of it or something, like something you take with key takeaways, like Brent suggested. Like, what's been the range of webinar prices that you've seen?
It depends on what it is. I've seen I've seen it range from $47 a month monthly membership up to $3,000. I've seen it as
I've seen that,
and I've seen not that I've been on. These are just webinars that either I've attended or people that are running products successfully. Let me just mention one thing about the whole price knockdown. Again, it's not about the price. Your fear is being seen as sleazy, and I know exactly what it is. You're afraid that you're going to be seen as sleazy. If you deliver such high value before you even start the pitch of your product, it's not going to matter. What's going to happen is, like, I would buy this at $9.97. So I'm certainly going to sit there and jump in with both feet at his $240 or her $247 price.
Right.
That's not sleaze. That's value.
Right.
If you come in sounding like you're trying to sell a used car today, and this is what you're going to get, and all right, folks, come on down. When you get into that type of stuff, that's sleaze. That's so that's the difference. But
give me
try
one
what
second.
you want to do.
1 second. I got it. I'll be back.
Yeah, go ahead.
So to your point, somebody actually said to me, and I'd love to hear your feedback on this. Actually, I really respected Mike. I took notes from him as well. One of the things he said to me was I should come in there. I'll give exactly what. My goal is really here to serve. I want to make sure that I am not coming off as like one of those salespeople that are constantly trying to hawk you for every. Like he kind of said, I don't want to be that ugly sales monster. And he said you can say that.
Yeah.
If you're uncomfortable.
Yeah.
That's what he said, ugly sales monster. Do you say, I'm really, I am in sales, but I don't want to come off like I'm trying to hawk you something.
I don't know.
My goal is really.
I guess it really depends. I mean, you could try that. I mean, that might be a detractor or something of that nature.
You think so?
I don't. I wouldn't mention that in any of my stuff, but it's just because it's not what I'm not. So in the end, I'm not really. In the end, it's not that I'm trying to. I do what I do. I'm so passionately in love with what I do that if money were no object, I would wake up tomorrow and do it for free. So, and I would do everything the exact same way that I'm doing. I would still do all the, the webinars and everything of that nature. But if I could do it for free, I would. And that's what an entrepreneur.
So what do you actually do? What is how do you make your living, David?
Guys, I'm going to jump off and let someone else have a seat.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I might have to jump off in a second myself. I burned dinner a little long. So.
Oh, no. Okay.
That's okay. It wasn't this. It was just something that shouldn't have happened, and it did. So,
all right, Reggie, we'll talk soon.
Okay.
Thanks for jumping in, Reggie.
All right. Thanks. No, thank you guys.
So tell us real quick before you go eat, what do you do? How do we work with you?
Find something to fix now. So I believe in inspiring others to do what inspires them by telling their story so they can enjoy life more by working less. And so with that, I help small business owners and entrepreneurs build their list, generate more leads, and sell more products and services. And I do this by teaching how to build better communications with or build better connections with effective communications using tools such as video.
Awesome. Do you have any free webinars coming up that we can go
I do tomorrow. I am teaching. I did one today, and I did one on Friday, and Friday went horribly, but that was technical stuff that God sat there and pretty much said, no, we don't need to have a
not today.
But it still went on. Thunderstorm taking out the power and everything. Let me give everybody the
link for tomorrow. What time tomorrow? Where are you?
I'm in the East Coast, so it's going to be 5 p.m. your time. And then there's probably going to be the same one. It's how to grow your business using live video services like Blab. Is what it is.
Awesome.
Yep. And it's a lot of fun.
Is that okay? I think I can actually make it.
There's probably going to be one on Wednesday, but that's not scheduled yet, and that won't be part of that link that I just gave you. So as of right now, just to create scarcity and urgency, tomorrow's it.
Right.
8 p.m. Eastern, so 5 p.m. Pacific. And yes, I know if you're in.
Oh, what time Eastern?
8 p.m. Eastern, so 5 p.m. Pacific.
Okay. Awesome.
It's a lot of fun.
Excellent.
So does anybody else have any questions? I've got a bunch of people in here that I appreciate everybody coming in and listening to me ramble and all the valuable information from Bren and examples from Reggie. Does anybody else have any questions before I sign off and go try to repair dinner? I just put that in. Did you get that?
I registered.
No, I was Healthy True Age was asking.
Oh, yeah, right.
I don't know if she's asking for mine or yours, though. So if you scroll up, hers is MLM Success.
Oh, for mine?
That's not it.
Here.
What did I do with it? .ly/LVA free. I just reported my own comment as spam.
Oh no!
The blab people will be coming.
Awesome.
And that's Bryn. So thank you very much for joining in. I hope that worked out a little bit for you. And
yeah, you gave me some really valuable things, and particularly my favorite is the thank you video, which I just paused because when I registered, yours went to a thank you video, and I'm going to go watch it.
It did. That awesome. One is specific. Now, that thank you video, I've got a few. So that thank you video is actually specific for that page and that giveaway that I have. But I've got others that I've done. Some are with my face on video and some are not. Different things. So.
Well, I look forward to hearing you again tomorrow.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Everyone. This is great. A lot of value.
Good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. That's very kind words. Thank you, everyone else for being here. And make sure you're following us, and we'll see you soon.